Good morning, everybody. It's great to see you all here this morning. And it's great to talk about what's important to the residents of the District of Columbia and our small businesses in the District of Columbia. And you know what that is, growing pathways to the middle class. I'm joined here today by my good friend on the council and the champion for small and local businesses in the District of Columbia, at-large Councilmember Vincent Orange. Give him a big round of applause. We're also joined by my council member, Brandon Todd from Ward 4, who is also a member of the committee and very focused on how we can support small businesses in the District of Columbia. Give him a big round of applause. I want to recognize the Deputy Mayor for greater economic opportunity. I think you all know that when we said that we were going to focus on how to have more DC residents and DC businesses involved in the prosperity that is Washington, we meant business. I appointed Courtney earlier this year, and part of her portfolio is working with our small and local businesses, our Department of Employment Services, to make sure that more Washingtonians are participating in the prosperity that we're growing in this city. I also, yes, give Courtney a big round of applause. I also want to acknowledge Director Anna Harvey, who is the director of the Department of Small and Local Businesses. And Anna has been working very hard to meet the challenge that Vincent Orange has set for all of us. It is a challenge, and we're happy to do it. And I was thinking to myself this morning, I was thinking about what I was going to say, and I just kept coming back to Vincent Orange is right. Vincent Orange is right. Vincent Orange is right. To focus on how we can include our businesses in demand of our agencies, and the council and the mayor working together to make sure that we're just not talking, but we're walking the walk as well. I also want to introduce Antoine Ford, who is here, and he's a small business owner. You're going to hear from him a little bit later. You may also recognize Director Clinton Lacey, and Director Lacey is the director of our Youth Rehabilitative Services, DYRS. So you may wonder what he's doing here, what he has to do with this program, and he's just doing a ride-along, a day with the mayor. And so this is part of his day with the mayor. So let me just get right to it. I think you all know that here in the District 9, out of 10 private employers are small businesses, employing nearly half of our private sector workforce. And we all have a vested interest in their success. Their success means a stronger economy, more jobs, more district residents being hired, and more district residents paying taxes, and more good-paying jobs that will allow people to buy a home and raise their families right here in DC. We want to ensure that we're an environment where businesses can start, thrive, and grow. And we want businesses to be able to take advantage of the many procurement opportunities that the District of Columbia offers. And to be perfectly honest, over the years, we have had mixed results. For a number of reasons, the district hasn't done a good enough job connecting small businesses to the procurement opportunities available in the district. In previous years, we have failed to deliver. In 2011, we know, and we can verify that we spent $107 million with CBEs. In 2012, it was $132 million, and around $175 million in 2013 and in 2014. And in the last fiscal year, which covered our first 9 months in office, we beat that, but we're still not where we want to be because we spent over $250 million for the first time in 5 years. And so today, we're here to announce the 2016 goal. And as council members and I like to say, it's the start of what we think that we can do moving forward. Our goal is to connect local businesses with at least $317 million worth of contracts in the district. And unlike previous years, we have spent a long time scrubbing every agency's budget to identify the expendable budgets for each district agency. So we didn't arbitrarily pick this amount. We have set a bold and feasible goal for which I will hold all of the agencies accountable. And we will hold every agency, and I know Councilmember Orange will, and none of them want to be called down to the committee one by one by one to talk about their agency spending. So we, when I say we scrubbed it, we also want it to be transparent, and we want to be held accountable. So the DMGO and Anna and the CA have all been working on making sure that we can distribute this month to all CBEs a CBE opportunity guide. And what you'll find in the guide is every agency, what their total budgets are, what part of that are personnel and fixed cost, and what part of that accounts for the purchasing power of the agency. And then we scrub the purchasing power of the agency to identify what is actually expendable. The goal, as you know, is 50% of the expendable budgets being spent with CBEs. What I was also very focused on is a category called CBE capacity not available. And when CBE capacity is not available, the agencies ask that not be included in the expendable budgets. That is where the opportunity is. So what we will spend, and it was about $2 billion worth of that. So when we talk about opportunities, I have asked the SLBD to identify, and for us to work this year, next year, and the year after that, to make sure that category of CBE not available goes to zero. That's where the opportunities are. So as Councilmember Orange has told me, and I know he's been following this issue since he was first elected to the council, and he used to chair the Government Operations Committee when we had a Government Operations Committee. And I want to thank him for his diligence in doing this. We know that this is our first attempt at putting this all together. We've identified and we've marked this book preliminary because we know there's several things that we need to update today, and then we will make it fully available online and distribute to our CEEs and small business stakeholders. So that's where we are. We have our FY16 goal. We've called out the challenge to all of our agency directors, and they know that they're going to be accountable for delivering on it. I know Councilmember has a roundtable, and he will keep roundtables scheduled to make sure that we're all on track, and we will be very cooperative in working with him. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to introduce our friend on the council, Vincent Orange.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor, and I can tell you today really is a fresh start in the right direction for our Certified Business Enterprise program. I'm pleased to be able to stand up and say with confidence that the expendable budget for fiscal year 2016 is $634 million. And that means that this government, the agencies will go out and procure goods and services to the tune of $634 million, of which $317 million is required to be spent with our certified business enterprises, in particular our small business enterprises. But I would also tell the CBE community to please note that does not mean that you are prevented from going after the entire pot. The entire pot is available, $634 million of goods and services to be procured is available. However, you're guaranteed to receive $317 million. And I also just like to acknowledge the Inspector General, the Office of the DC Auditor, as well as Ms. Harvey and Ms. Courtney, and also the members of my committee who've all worked hard to scrub these numbers. Even the CFO's office has been involved in this. We brought everybody together to make sure that we have a good starting point in which to move forward. And as the mayor has indicated, over the past fiscal years, I mean, we just hit $175 million last year. So now the mayor is saying my agencies will spend $317 million. And when you get the booklet today that they put together, you can look at each agency where the agency director had to execute that document that says, this is my expendable budget and this is my goal that I've divided by 2. And so we have that. It's transparent. It's before you. Also, they've outlined in the booklet where the opportunities lie. So we've had none of this information before. And also, I just want to thank the mayor, because the mayor just didn't start working on this. She worked on this with me when she was the Ward 4 council member as well. So she knows this, backwards and forward as well. Other changes that have gone into effect is that the CBE licensing period, once you get your license, it has been extended from a 2-year period to a 3-year period. So now you're good for 3 years. And in addition to that, if there's been no material change, when you go to recertify, you just self-recertify. You don't have to go through all the bureaucracy. You get an automatic additional 3 years. And this is one that I think is great that the mayor agreed to, and that is if an agency director determines that they can't meet their SBE goal, they have to go talk to the mayor. They have to get that waiver from the mayor. So I'm sure that all 88 agency heads are going to be working extremely hard to meet their goal, because who wants to go talk to the boss and say, I failed? So that's going to be a great thing in and of itself. In addition, I know Ms. Harvey is already working on this. If a waiver is requested and it's determined that, at least preliminary, that no CBE can do the work, that they have to notify the CBEs first. And the CBEs get 10 days to notify the government that they can, in fact, do that work. And then everything stops while DSLBD goes through do their due diligence to ensure that the CBE can do the work as well. And also what's new this year is that we have all the spending plans. The agency heads are starting off the fiscal year not only with their goal, but they were required to have a spending plan to show how they can meet their goal. And we've never had that before as well. So there are a lot of great things. And before I close, let me also say there are different pots of money that are available. We're talking about the 50% of the expendable budget for the procurement of goods and services. There's also another pot, the 35% set aside, and those are for construction and non-construction projects. And that should be a big number as well. And then I know the mayor indicated this morning that she's looking at the interagency transfers, and that could be an additional $225 million. But she's going to make sure that they dot all the I's and cross all the T's. So at the end of the day, I really believe that the CBE community will have a great opportunity to access $1 billion worth of work. But at the end of the day, it's quality work. We're after quality. If you can't provide the quality, we want nothing to do with you. It has to be quality work. Quality work, and you get paid, and we want you to get paid because some of those taxes are going to come back into the Treasury, the taxes that you pay. And if you hire DC residents, like all your DC residents hire you, we're going to get a little bit back from you as well, and then we can circulate those dollars in the District of Columbia. It doesn't make sense to do business with an entity that's not subject to DC taxation and that is not hiring DC residents. So we are off to a great start, a great fresh start. And I'm just so pleased to be a part of it. And I also just want to thank Brandon Todd and all the members on my committee. And also just want to give a shout out to my staff who has worked extremely hard on this. And at the end of the day, we're one big happy family because we're all in this together. We're all working together, from the mayor's office to the CFO to the inspector general to the DC auditor to the deputy mayor for greater economic opportunity. Of course, the DSLBD director, Anna Harvey, who's doing an excellent job. So we're all in this together. And the city administrator behind the scenes cracking that whip, getting it together. And his staff and everybody else. Thank you so much.
So a little bit earlier this year, I was with Antoine, and we were talking about another program that's very important to us. And he pulled together an excellent program for our youth, especially our 22 to 24-year-olds. And so we feel very honored that he's here from Enlightened Inc. To talk about the district's procurement power and what that means for small businesses. Antoine.
Good morning, everyone. As the owner of a CBE, and I can tell you Enlightened's been around for about 15 years or so, I can attest to the importance of this program. I can attest to the importance of the power of local government and actually performing in a local government, because it has helped my company grow from literally nothing to almost 150 people. And so given that power, we realized the importance of this particular program. It is true in the past it's been difficult. It's been difficult from a planning perspective. Opportunities come out that you don't know about. Sometimes opportunities come out and you're not able to plan for. And as a business owner, one of the most important things is Councilman Orange talked about quality. And one of the important things of producing quality is be able to plan for it. This program gives us the opportunity to know what's coming out, to plan for it, to be able to target appropriately your resources such that you can be able to deliver to the government the excellence that it needs. And I really want to applaud them for this particular program on behalf of the CBE community. I am thrilled that Mayor Bowser and Councilman Orange have listened to the CBE community. Many of you don't know this, but in 2013, I was chair of the board for the DC Chamber of Commerce. This was probably the #1 issue among the small business about, I want to see opportunities. I want to plan for these opportunities. And so as the business community leaders, we looked at trying to get this thing in place because the commitment was to hire people in DC, but it's difficult if you don't know what's coming and not have transparency in government. So I was so delighted with this. I've been beating down the door with Director Harvey and Deputy Director Snowden and talking about these particular programs, and I believe I'm just ecstatic about this. I think this approach is real. I think this approach will work. One of the things there's a sidebar, and I didn't prepare this notes here, but there's two extra values. One, as companies grow in this particular area, and it's very important that we hire young people, because of the summer program and because Enlighten was able to grow, I was actually able to hire one of the young men that was in that age group of 22 to 24. This is a young man who grew up in Southeast Washington, and now he's one of my technology support person. As you grow technology companies, as you grow construction companies, as you grow the CBE companies, they're able to hire these young people. And so I want you to know there's these sidebars. And last thing is, one of the importance is attracting businesses to this DC. When I was chair of the board of the DC Chamber of Commerce, it was difficult sometimes to get people into the city because they were looking for the opportunity. This is going to be a great boon for those businesses that want to locate in Washington for opportunities. I think these are great opportunities, and I'm looking forward to anything that Enlighten could do to help, and I congratulate the administration on this.
So I want to call up now the city administrator, the deputy mayor, and Anna Harvey, who will help us take some questions. We'll take press questions first on topic, and then we'll take some questions from anybody who has some from the small business stakeholder community. Let me also announce what the new website is, and the preliminary report is on the website now. It's cbeconnect.dc.gov, cbeconnect.dc.gov. Rashad?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you for your leadership and direction on this issue, and thank the council member for his leadership. He certainly has been pushing us hard in the right direction, so it's been a pleasure to work with all of the agencies to get to this point. As the mayor indicated, this is a floor for us, so $317 million is the minimum expectation, but we think there's a lot more opportunity there, particularly around the construction of our schools. And so when we look at just that number, We think that there is roughly some $250 million, primarily in construction of schools and other construction contracts that are in our budget speak, our transfer process, that are opportunities for CBEs, as well as what we do around IT investments. And so this guide and the website really will serve as a resource to help people understand those opportunities, plan for those opportunities, and move forward. So Mayor, should we take questions at this point? Are there any questions from the press that we can answer?
Sure. Yeah, so we've seen a lot of fraud in the CBE program over a couple of years. What do you guys have in place before that?
So there are a number of reforms that are into law, and the council member took the leadership to pass an enhanced CBE law, and there's also a series of recommendations, some 18, that have come from the Inspector General's audit of our CBE program. And so all of those recommendations we have moved on in this year and put those reforms in place. Chief among them really was to start the planning process earlier. One of the issues that we had in prior years is that the target of our CBE goal has moved throughout each quarter of the fiscal year. What we've done now is have all of those goals defined, evaluated, and agreed to at the beginning of the fiscal year. So when we start this fiscal year, for which we're about a month into, we understand what the goal is. The agencies are very clear about that goal. We have reviewed all of the exceptions and exclusions, and the agency, DSLBD, is committed to both a program of outreach to the CBE community to continue to update when these opportunities exist, as well as regular monitoring throughout the year to ensure that our agencies are focused on getting those CBE procurements out the door and contracted with appropriately and according to the law. Councilman.
There's just one additional thing I want to add to that. We did change the law, so when one is responding to a request for proposals, they must have a subcontracting plan. And the subcontracting plan must include a certified business enterprise entity with a CBE registered number. And in the subcontracting plan, it must indicate and allocate how much that CBE is going to receive. That's where the problem area was before, where CBEs were being used as pass-throughs. And even once you got through the door, then you would get rid of your CBE. Well, that can't happen anymore because you must have a subcontracting plan. And if the subcontracting plan doesn't meet the 4 elements, it's deemed unresponsive and it cannot even be examined. So we feel that will cut down on the abuse that took place in the past.
Yes, Mr. Young, there has been a problem with the CBE program. Many black businesses feel that they are not, with all due respect to Mr. Ford, that they are not a part of this CBE component. Is there going to be an equal opportunity component to make sure that black businesses get enough city business?
So your name and organization?
I'm James Wright with the applicant.
So we have to have a race-neutral program under the law. If we move to a program that is not race-neutral, we have to have evidence that is really established by the federal courts to have a gender-specific or race-specific program that allows for set-asides. And so we have DBE is eligible to be a CBE, as you probably know, but we can't have a race-specific program that stands the scrutiny of the federal court. There's a well-decided case that speaks to government procurement that requires certain standards be met for that to occur. And so what we're doing is structuring a program that is in compliance with the law, focusing on those small business opportunities, but having very specific outreach strategies for our minority community and women-owned business community to make them aware of those opportunities and give them resources for capacity building where that's required and necessary. In the back.
Chris WNEW. Are there benchmarks, or are you looking to spend a certain amount of money in specific wards geographically?
So our CBE program is not ward specific. It is not geographic specific. It really follows the expenditures that are allocated in the budget. We try to make investments all across the wards. We have an all 8 ward strategy for our investments for city resources and capital projects and goods and services. And so we anticipate that the beneficiary of that expenditure will be all 8 wards of the city, but the program tracks where the budget rests and for specific projects that are not specifically tied to ward. But when we do the budget, we do make sure that we are equal and equitable and make sure that we're investing in areas of the city that require it. Any other? Yes.
Abigail Hausliner from the Washington Post. Obviously, you mentioned that you've all mentioned the agencies have said before that there's been a conflict in some instances where the capacity does not exist for particular contracts, and they've used that as an excuse for not contracting with CBEs. They've said that those two goals, having the best quality contract and having a CBE employed, are sometimes mutually exclusive. What's more important this year going forward as you try to spend more money on CBEs?
Well, I think it's both. It's not an either-or proposition. I don't take as a premise that CBEs deliver inferior quality or that are any different in their quality of delivery, the delivery of their services than any other contractor would. And so they are not mutually exclusive goals. We think that both can exist and should exist. Our CBE community does wonderful work and vital services each and every day and each year that we work with them.
I just wanted to add to that to show you how the agency heads are actually getting involved in this as well. You know, there was a big thing about the lottery contract where there's only 3 companies in the nation that makes the tickets. So what we worked out was you can get the waiver for those companies to do the tickets, but any collateral issues, any collateral work is all going to CBEs. When we build a soccer stadium, we don't have anyone in town that can manufacture those seats. But what we do have is the opportunity to train our CBEs to get the maintenance contract to maintain them. So we are really thinking outside the box and working with agency heads to say it may not be available in one area, but it can be available in this area. So that's the reason why we're just all putting our heads together and making sure that we can trap the DC dollar at our borders and keeping it here.
Yes.
Are those all the press questions? Hold on one second, Maria. Any more press questions? Okay, community questions. Maria?
Thank you, Ms. Thank you, Mayor Bowser, for your program that I'm attending, the CEO Academy, which enlightened me all throughout what a construction industry is, and it's not work. It's the capacity of each one of us to get the work. My experience since 2008 that I'm a CBE, it's very poor. I only had one contract in 2010 for $250,000, but I have been a subcontractor of $15 and $20 million projects. That's odd, but that's my reality. And I hope this administration looks for the small contractors like me. Right now, currently, for example, as GC from Ohio trusted me on $2 million worth of contract in Highland Terrace.
Great.
Thank you very much, because I guess your administration is the one that gives the money. Thank you for Mr. Orange always counting in us, a small community. And yes, we are the ones that feed the tax rolls.
That's right.
We are the ones that hire the John Does in every single neighborhood because we believe in them. And I hope all of you can trust the small community, the CBE community, because we are the ones that end up cleaning the jobs for the big CBEs. Thank you so much.
Great, thank you, thank you. Sir? Yes, sir.
I'm George Banks. I'm President and CEO of Century Security International, Inc. We're going towards 17 years in DC as a CBE and an 8A certified company. We're 4 years in the program. First of all, I want to commend the administration, but also I want to caution the administration to focus on payments, contract payments, transparency in contract payments. I've been a victim of that in the district. The citywide security contract that is going on in the city is about $70 million. And I was booed out by a company called Allied Baton for no just reason. We had investigations done. It was proven that they violated the laws that were set up by the city, CBE. There was no one to fight for the CBE. But at this point, I'm asking, even though we're talking about $300 million, the budget in DC is about $13 billion. It's moving towards that. Okay? Let's do better with CBE.
No, we
Let's look
appreciate
at Atlanta
that point.
as a
We appreciate that point. We have a Quick Pay Act requirement, and this administration has looked at vendor payments because we have also heard that that has been a challenge. And so we know that there's some improvements to be made there, and we are looking at that and requiring our agencies to comply with the Quick Pay Act and putting in reforms to make sure that we do a much better job with that where we are deficient. Thank you. I'm sorry, we need to move on to another question. Yes, sir.
My name is Andre Mara. I'm the president of A&E Heating and Air Conditioning, and Madam Mayor, Councilmember Orange. Hey, Madam Mayor, I just want to thank you for even being willing to help people like me. I really should be up on a roof right now because I'm one of the small businesses that still have to make the donuts.
Right.
Yep.
And I just wanted to know, and I love Councilmember Orange's efforts, and I had to be 3 times better than any other contractor. I always have to perform at the highest level. But inclusion hasn't been a part of my process. Exclusion has. And I'm a mechanical contractor. And I would employ you to find out how many CBE mechanical contractors there are in this city. Very few. Yet, I can't get into the room. I know people. I performed, but I don't know what the password is.
So I appreciate that comment. And so thank you for the hard work. And we're going to wrap up so you can get back on a roof real quick. But what we're here to do, and I think that we've gotten kind of a flavor from the comments already, is that we're talking about a piece of the puzzle, not the whole puzzle. So this is a good tool. And I hear from people who have been very successful in this city that understanding this budget, the acquisition planning for the year. Yes, I'm talking about you. Yes, I am. And understand the acquisition planning for the year, and the agency directors understanding the acquisition planning for the year and what they have to do is a first start. What you're talking about is also something that is part of Anna's portfolio. What I have been a little frustrated with about DSLBD in years past is that the agency spent its whole time trying to certify somebody as disadvantaged. Right? The whole focus, certification. To me, it should be that much of Anna's job. The rest of Anna's job is building capacity so that when the opportunities come, like the program that Maria just referred to, the CEO program, that all of our businesses have improved capacity and are ready for the opportunities. The second, another part of that, which I think you're alluding to, is how do we match people with opportunities? So if you're going to be doing mechanical work, you're probably working with a GC, and you want to know how do you break in with the GCs. And so we need to do and put and match people and put people in matching programs. We have had some successful programs at several of our agencies, and the ones that are working, we want to double down on. But that's also going to be part of Anna's portfolio. So we're getting in this 10 months in, scratching the surface. But I will tell you, or they will tell you, that we were up till midnight. Well, I was. They were probably up later. Really understanding each agency's spend. I I like to do things like that because believe me, in managing the government, understanding where the money is going is 90% of the job. And so we spent that time looking at it, and we want the agency directors to spend that time looking at it. The chief procurement officer is also sending a document to the council that outlines all of the agencies spend over $1 million. The booklet that you're going to be able to download will outline the planned spend of over $1 million for every agency too. What we want to do for the next iteration of the guide is look at the smaller procurements that are required to be spent with CBE. So that's a work in progress. And I think it's also true to George's point, we want to spend more. So how can we make sure that the next time we do this, that we have fewer, the category, when the agency director said there's no CBE that's doing this work, that's smaller and smaller and smaller each and every year. So that's where we're going. This has been a very good exercise. The next time we do it, it won't take nearly as long. It's going to help Councilmember Orange and all of you hold us accountable. And not only is it a guide for you, it's a guide for the government to get to where we want to be. So I want to thank you all for being here today. Continue to work with us. We will have, I think we have a couple of sample books. Keep in mind, like I said, preliminary. We already know that we're looking at the construction and IT dollars, and we'll add that. We'll add a summary. There are a couple of agencies who we didn't have, independent agencies that we didn't have the breakdown of their spend, which will be updated as well. And then you can expect to see the final version mailed to you. Thank you, everybody.